Hey guys, welcome back to How to Train Your Gavin, and I have the video that I think a lot of people were expecting me to do by now, and that is my top 10 middle grades of 2019. I feel like a lot of people could probably predict this list. I am gonna do this in a top 10 ranking with my Copile ratings, and if you don't know what Copile is, it is a rating system that was created by Jay at Book Roast, and I've been using this system since the start of 2020 now, and I redid all of my 2019 ratings in this Copile system. And the results were a little bit shocking, not gonna lie. I've read quite a lot of middle grade books in 2019, I think about 50 odd or something, so this is just my top 10, and I'm excited to get through this video and show you what these books are. Some of these have the same rating, and I've just kind of plopped one ahead of the other, just in terms of enjoyment, I guess. So even if it's at the bottom half of this list, it's still fantastic because I read a lot of middle grades last year, so this is just, these are all great recommendations. I have not included any of the rereads that I've done, so none of the sort of Harry Potter books that I reread are in this list, or The Wizard of Oz, things like that. I've excluded them, so without further ado, the top 10 list of the new to me middle grade books of 2019. So the first book on this list is House Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. So this one has a Copile rating of 8.14. In my heart, this is a full-on 5-star. Absolutely love this, and I knew I would. I read this for Ghibli-a-thon earlier on in the year. It was a group book for that, and what a book it is. I can't believe it's taken so long to read this one because it is a bit of an older book. This one originally came out in 1986, and I absolutely love the Studio Ghibli movie, but I went into this not expecting it to be exactly like the movie. There are a lot of similarities, and you can see exactly where the movie draws inspiration from in this, as well as scenes that were pretty much exact. But I really enjoy the story of this. It is about Sophie, who works at her family's store, and she is cursed by the Witch of the Waste to live as an old woman. As an old woman, Sophie goes on a little adventure, and she comes across Howl. And Howl is this sort of wizard person who is rumoured to eat young girls' hearts. So he has a bit of a reputation, but oh, I just absolutely love it. I loved Sophie's and Howl's dynamic. I love the characters. I love Calcifer. So the spirit of these characters are definitely carried over well into the movie. So I wasn't disappointed by this at all. I think I still maybe prefer the movie. In fact, I am wearing my Studio Ghibli shirt. There's Calcifer right there. Can you see him? I'm waddling backwards because I don't want to walk into the bookshelf. But there's Sorcery right there. So I would really recommend this one. In fact, I would recommend all of them in this top 10 list because it is a top 10 list. Of course I'm going to recommend them. But if you want to know more about my thoughts on this, I believe I talk a lot more about it in my Ghibli-a-thon wrap-up, which I will link somewhere. And yeah, I just really love this one. In at number 9 is The Boy About the Class by Anjali Q. Roth. I gave this one a Copile rating of 8.29. This one, it's so topical and so important, I think, for a lot of children to read, a lot of adults to read. This really put things into perspective for me to come from a sort of child's perspective. So this is the story of a boy who comes to the UK as a Syrian refugee, and he's kind of lost his family in the process, and he begins this new school, and it's sort of through a different child's perspective of this new boy in their class, and it's so eye-opening. It kind of touches on what adults think of this situation as well. There are definite moments in this where I kind of thought, you know what, I know people like this, and it really saddens me, but it just shows exactly how important this book is, especially for kids who are seeing on the news Syrian refugees coming into the country and the racism that befalls a lot of these innocent refugees who are coming over for a better life. It's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. Anjali Q. Roth, she is a phenomenal writer, and I don't typically read a lot of contemporary, which is probably why this is a little bit lower on my list, but I think in terms of importance and a book that I think everybody should read, this would be top of the list. This is definitely one of the best children's books that I've read in such a long time in terms of writing and its topic, and it made me cry. It did. There are genuine moments in this where sometimes people say how innocent a child is, and when you see how they cope with a situation that's a little bit bigger than they are, it's incredible. So it feels very genuine, and I love this book, I really do. I know it seems low on the list, but it's mainly because I am a fantasy reader. This is definitely one of the best contemporaries I've read, and it's just thinking about it, it's really emotional. So there are some comical moments in this as well. It's not all gloom, and there is hope and a lot of human kindness as well. So it's those moments that really make me happy, but it is also quite sad, and Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it. Just above that, in at number 8 is Wanda by R.J. Palacio. This one has a co-pilot rating of 8.43. This one came out in 2012, and why did it take me so long to read this? It is anybody's guess. But I did wait, and I waited until Believe-a-thon to read this one, which is a middle grade readathon that I hosted in November, and it will be coming back in May and November again. So I hope you guys can join in on that, because this is definitely one of the standout books that I read during Believe-a-thon. Another tearjerker, and again, I don't read a lot of contemporary, but I can understand why this is such a big, important book for a lot of people, and why it's still well read to this day, even though it's been, gosh, like 8 years now since it got released. But this does follow a young boy called August, and he looks different to everybody else because he has a rare facial disfiguration, and he goes to public school for the first time. To me, that just seems like really scary, so already you admire the strength and courage of the main character, because you know exactly what other kids are like. I mean, I'm sure everybody who's watching this has probably been bullied at some point in their life. Well, imagine that if you were August, you know, and it's like, I could definitely relate. I put myself in August's shoes, and it's what made this such a hard-hitting book. And I really identified with August and what he was going through. I mean, not as much to his extent, but, you know, just in other personal connections. Yeah, we follow him going into school. Again, this is one where you do see child innocence and human kindness and things like that, but there are a lot of dark moments, and you will feel protective of August. Even though he's a fictional character, you will really feel for him, and you will want to protect him at all costs. And that's exactly how I felt during the entire time reading this. I really enjoyed the writing style of this as well, because it's told through different points of view, and that way you get a sense of August and the entire picture around August as well. There is something rather heartbreaking in this as well that isn't exactly tied into the main storyline, but it is a kind of side story that just absolutely broke my heart. So again, this is only one that you should read if you are prepared for the heartbreak, and it's not one you can just jump into lightly. It does take a lot to read, and it is again another contemporary middle grade that I would absolutely recommend. 100% love. Yeah. In at number 7 is The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill, and this one has a co-pilot rating of 8.57. Oh, this is such a magical story, and again, one that I read during Believe-a-thon. So there is a witch, and she takes children who are abandoned by this village, and she feeds them starlight, and she kind of helps them grow up in a different village kind of thing. That's just like a Cliff Notes version. So one day, the witch saves a young baby and accidentally feeds her moonlight instead of starlight. And that gives this baby, who is aptly named Luna, magical abilities that she grows up with and she can't exactly control. So yeah, mischief ensues, and there's a lot of magical and mythological... That is not a word, wow. There's a lot of mythology and a lot of kind of world building in this, but I really enjoyed this book. Although for a lot of it I was a bit worried, because there isn't that sort of like good versus evil kind of story you get a lot in middle grade fantasy fictions. This is essentially a story about Luna and her growing up kind of thing. I love the swamp monster, I love the little dragon. There's just so much magic in this. Like, if I could describe this book in one word, it would just be pure magic. I mean, that's 2 words. It would just be magic. Beautifully written as well. I love the aspect of going between the village and the witch, and yeah, so there's like a lot of character work in this, and I think it's done really well. But it also has an ending that breaks your bloody heart. So this is a recurring theme now. There's a lot of sadness in middle grade books, but hey, this is still a really magical, wonderful book, and I would wholeheartedly recommend it to everyone. Again, another one that took me ages to read, even though everybody recommended it. And I'm so glad 2019 was the year I did that, and during Believe-a-thon as well. So amazing. So we're jumping up quite a bit in the co-pilot rate now, but in at number 6 is A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison with 9.14. Oh my god, I love this book so much. Okay, so this follows 3 sisters. They are the Widdershins, and we have Betty, Charlie, and Fliss. Not in that order though. It's Fliss, Betty, and then Charlie. Fliss is the oldest, Charlie's the youngest, and each of these sisters has a magical item. We have a travelling bag that allows them to travel wherever they like to. There is a mirror that allows you to talk to anyone you'd like to, and there are these nesting dolls that allows the person who puts something in that belongs to them to turn invisible. But not only that, they have a family curse, and if they leave Crowstone, it will trigger this curse. And now, I'm not saying anything else about it, but oh my god, what an adventure. I absolutely love this book so much. The atmosphere in this, I absolutely love Crowstone. There is such a world, like, the world isn't huge, but what is built in this sort of little village, this little island kind of thing, is quite wonderful. I read this last January, so it's been a while. In fact, I think this was the first middle grade book that I read of 2019 that wasn't a Harry Potter reread. So there is that. But this is definitely it's just brimming with magic, and a lot of the times it is a little bit scary. You know, there is such a tense atmosphere, and the whole island of Crowstone is just sublime. It's just sublime. You will absolutely fall in love with the sisters as well. These sisters get on. They don't get on half the time, but it has this genuine sisterly bond in it that I think a lot of people will identify with. It also has a sort of ending that I wasn't expecting, but I was so invested. I just absolutely loved every minute of this. So yeah, this is definitely one of my favourite middle grades of all time. I think the top 6 now I would consider my favourite middle grades of all time. In at number 5, also with 9.14, is The Girl Who Speaks Bear by Sophie Anderson. So this story follows Yanka, who was discovered in a bear cave when she was a baby and taken to this village. As she's grown up, she doesn't really belong. She's always called a bear because of her strength, and one day Yanka has to flee her home into the snow forest and discover who she really is. And I love stories about, trying to find yourself, and this is such a journey. Let me tell you, this is a journey. And this is mainly set in the snow forest, and I absolutely love that setting. There were just so many possibilities for this story, and it was just so beautifully told. There are stories within stories in this book as well, as we hear sort of like fairy tales kind of in almost every other chapter. And what's brilliant about it though is that a lot of these kind of connect with the main story, so it doesn't feel out of place. It just all fits, and it fits so well. But if you're looking for such a fantastic polar fantasy, one that has a main character you really root for. Oh my god, not just the main character, but there's also Mousetrap. Oh, just brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And if you read The House with Chicken Legs as well, you will also love something that happens in here. And House with Chicken Legs was also written by Sophie Anderson. But this one, I love House with Chicken Legs, and I was so happy that I love this one probably more. I haven't done a core rating for House with Chicken Legs yet, but I absolutely adore this one. It's just brilliant. It's brilliant. The story just keeps going and going, and I didn't want this to end. And this is a little bit chunky for a middle grade book. It is 400 pages. Not long enough. That's my only gripe. It wasn't long enough. I wanted more. I wanted more so bad. Anyway, yes, let's patiently wait for Sophie Anderson's 3rd book, shall we? And another book with 9.14, and at number 4 is Nevermore, The Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. This is definitely one for the ages. I loved it so much. This is another one that people screamed at me to read, and I obliged. Morrigan Crow is a cursed child. She is doomed to die on her 12th birthday, but then it gets pushed to her 11th, and she is saved by Jupiter North and is whisked away to the land of Nevermore. And when she's there, she has to prove her worth, sort of. Like, she's not just allowed to come into this amazing magical society and expect to live there scot-free. She has to go through these trials to prove her worth, and it's so exciting. And there was just so much to this story, so much whimsy, so much magic, and it kept on going. I fell in love with Morrigan Crow. I fell in love with a lot of these characters. Jupiter North. There were some scary moments with this as well, especially with the opening kind of thing, being with her having to essentially die. But I love darkness in my children's books, not gonna lie. I do love a little bit of darkness. The world building, like, I just wish that I could go to Nevermore. I really do. I wish I was part of the Wondrous Society. Yeah, I just love it so much. I do. Nevermore, never, never, nevermore, never, never. I read this back in July, and I am already feeling myself a reread. In at number 3 is A Sprinkle of Sorcery by Michelle Harrison, which has a core rating of 9.29. This one comes out on February 6th, 2020, so make sure you get it as soon as you do. Waterstones has a really nice exclusive sprayed edge as well. Oh, I read the proof of this over Christmas, and it was just like the best time for it. It was just so magical and wonderful. So this one does continue the story of the Widdersham sisters. It's so hard to talk about the second one without a spoiler. But anyway, one of the sisters is kidnapped, and the other 2 sisters have to go after her. Again, it continues everything you love in the first one, the sisterly bond, the family disputes. The characters are so funny and just so genuine and amazing. But it does make this a bit of a seafaring adventure, which I personally love. I love things like Pirates of the Caribbean and things like that. But I would definitely describe this as having the sisterly bond of Frozen with the adventure of the Goonies. If you love the first one, I genuinely think you will love the second one as well. I'm so excited to have the final copy of this. It's just gonna look so gorgeous with the first one. I love the series so much. Like, you will genuinely love them as well. Some new characters in this as well who you really... Well, I mean, they were a little bit weird to begin with. You know, I can't imagine the story without them. I just really enjoyed their part in this. And I don't know, hopefully there will be more of them in the 3rd one, maybe. I don't know. There is going to be a 3rd one. Hallelujah. Like, I'm so happy with this. Like, we are just thrust straight into the story. There are will-o'-the-wisps. It's so atmospheric. Again, like, one of the best things about the series is the atmosphere. It's a 10 out of a 10. Oh, so many lessons learned in this, and as an adult as well, I really needed to hear those lessons. I think the world of this. I really do, and oh, I can't wait for people to read it. I genuinely really cannot. Thank you so much as well, Michelle and Olivia, for sending me this. I am just genuinely, I just love it so much. Like, this is my prized possession now. This is my most prized possession.
Till now, I always got by on my own. I never really cared until I met you. And now it chills me to the bone. How do I get you alone? How do I get you alone?
And number 2 with 9.29 is Wondersmith, The Calling of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. Oh, a sequel again that just is somehow better than the first one. I genuinely think this is better than Nevermore, and I love Nevermore with all my heart, but there's so much more world building in this, and I love the characters in the first one, but because there's a lot more development and I've spent a bit more time with them, I love them even more in this. Again, everything I loved about the first one is present in this one. The only thing is I wish there was more Jupiter North. But this one just, the story of it as well, I couldn't predict exactly where I was going to go. I really did feel for Morrigan in this as well. So many people like to be mean to her. They just need to give her a chance, gosh. And I love seeing more of the world of Nevermore as well. It keeps expanding. There's lots of nice little magical nuggets in this to discover. And I do enjoy the magic school element of this as well. Oh, it's so good. Oh. But yeah, I was struggling at first to think, is this better than the first one? Because I love both of them so equally. But I think with time, I've learned to love this one a little more. I need to reread both of them before Hollowpox comes out in August. Oh, I'm so excited. Literally, reading the first 2 books of these just makes me that much excited for the third one, but also so anxious that the third one might not live up to the first 2. But I'm really hopeful and confident that it will be just as good. So, yeah, Wondersmith is my number 2. It's just fantastic. Morrigan Crow, you're one hell of a main character. I'll give you that. And of course, my number 1 with a core pile of 9.43 is Frostheart by Jamie Littler. No surprise to absolutely anybody. I've talked about this one so much. This one is a story about a young boy called Ash, and he lives in a stronghold that is separated by the Snow Sea. In the Snow Sea there are leviathans, and Ash has this weird magical ability as a song weaver to be able to speak to the leviathans. But of course he doesn't really understand his powers. Nobody does. People think that song weavers are dangerous, so Ash keeps his powers hidden. One day though, he has to save the crew of the Frostheart, and they are pathfinders, so they go from stronghold to stronghold, giving people supplies and finding new paths and things like that. He has to save them because they've come to the stronghold, and that exposes his powers, and he gets kicked out, and he joins the crew of the Frostheart to find his missing parents because, one, his parents are missing. Did I forget to mention his parents are missing? And they've left him a lullaby where he has to sort of decipher it to find out where they are, and he brings along his Yeti guardian, Tobu, and it's so magical, so adventurous. I absolutely love this one so much. Yeah, this was a group book for Believeathon. What a great group book, in my opinion, it was. Because this is written by Jamie Littler, and it is also illustrated by Jamie Littler, and one of the best things about this book are the illustrations. So we see exactly what's going on in his head as he is telling the story as well. So we can see exactly what the Leviathans look like, what the characters look like. It's always handy to know how the authors say them. So yeah, this one is another one that's so full of magic. I mean, the characters are just standout performers. We have Ash, who is just such a relatable main character. I relate so much to him. We also have Tobu, and I love his relationship with Ash. It's so fantastic. They always seem to be button heads, but they really do appreciate and love one another as well. It's just, oh, great. And then we have Luna, who is one of the crew members of the Frostheart. She becomes like Ash's best friend. Oh, I love her so much. She has the energy, she has the lines, she's fantastic. But the entire crew of the Frostheart are very charismatic, and in the story it just goes places. because we have them going above the Frostheart. They go from stronghold to stronghold, and they bump into leviathans and dangerous creatures, and it's just all so good. It's very action packed, and an ending that just makes me so excited for Frostheart 2: Escape from Aurora, which is coming out this October. And again, of course, my most anticipated book of 2020. I love this so much.
Till now, I always got.
It is definitely my favourite children's book since Harry Potter. I could talk about this forever, as you already know, because I have. And can I also show off for just a second the fact that Jamie Littler has illustrated me. He sent me this amazing illustration because of all my support for Frostheart. And also a shout out to Naomi a Penguin, who sent me this, and honestly it is the best thing I've ever received. 100% made my absolute, it's made my life. It's just made me so happy. And here it is, my illustration. Can you say it all right? Okay, I'll take it out of the frame. It is framed because it's just so amazing. I love it. But yes, this is me. I'm going to take it out. Okay, so this is me. If I was part of the Frostheart world, this is me. I am of the Bookkeeper Stronghold. And you can just say just how amazing it is. I just love Jamie's illustrations. They're amazing. But that's me. That's me. And there's my little camera for vlogging. Making my booktube videos. The books that I carry. That one is most likely Frostheart. And that one's Frostheart 2: Escape from Aurora. That one's Frostheart 3. Yeah, you can just tell. You can tell it's me. But yeah, I love it. I love it so much.
Till now.
So I had to show it off in one of my videos because I haven't been doing the weekly vlogs anymore. Stay tuned. Yeah, this is like literally, I genuinely can't believe it. I got sent this. I'm just over the moon. Oh my god. So they were my top 10 middle grade books of 2019, and I love them with all my heart. I could reread every single one of them right now. I really want to do that, but I can't because commitments. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got some really good middle grade recommendations there. If you haven't already checked them out, please do so, because they're just phenomenal. Can't wait for the amazing middle grades that are coming out in 2020 and to read some of the backlog books that I've got to get to, and there are a lot. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a little like. Leave a little comment down below if you read any of these and what you thought of them, or your favourite middle grades of 2019. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!